All right, joining us again from Washington, reporter for The Hill, Julia Manchester. Julia, good morning to you once again. Are congressional Republicans here on a different page from the president when it comes to Venezuela and Russia?
Yeah, it seems like there is a big gulf between the president and Republicans in his administration, as well as Republicans on Capitol Hill. You know, you're seeing that President Trump in his phone call with Vladimir Putin seemed to hint that they were on the same page in terms of Venezuela. However, we know that Russia has a very invested economic interest in Venezuela, and you're seeing that members of his own administration, such as Secretary of State Mike Pompeo, seem to be harder on the Russians, you know, saying that no country should get involved. However, we see that Russian Foreign Minister Sergei Lavrov is running, you know, telling media that President Trump didn't necessarily raise this concern with Vladimir Putin in his phone call. So lots of differing statements coming out from the Trump administration on this, and it shows that President Trump isn't necessarily on the same page with Republicans in his administration or on Capitol Hill on this issue.
Julia, the Mueller report, as we know, found no criminal conspiracy between elements of the Trump campaign and Russia, and yet President Trump, as we just saw, still is refusing to call out Vladimir Putin directly for Russia's election interference. So what do you think that says about the relationship between these two men?
Yeah, so Jeff, I actually think you hit the nail on the head this one just a couple of minutes ago. I think the president, whenever whenever there is talk about Russian interference in the election, he seems to take that personally, and he believes it calls into his election win in 2016. It kind of somehow makes it it somehow takes away the value of it, if you will. I think the president, you know, doesn't like to admit that Russians meddled in the election, because he seems to believe that that doesn't make his election win true, if you will. So this is something the president has continued to do over the past 2 years, you know, whether he's on stage with Russian President Vladimir Putin saying that he takes him at his word that they didn't meddle. However, I would say that this, once again, there's a big gulf between President Trump and Republicans on this issue. You know, you've seen Republicans and Democrats on Capitol Hill call this a national security issue. His own intelligence community calls this a national security issue. However, the president seems to be taking more of a laid-back approach when talking to Vladimir Putin, and it shows that they, you know, I just don't understand really that dynamic there between in their relationship. You know, the Trump administration has been quite tough on Russia on other policies, whether it has to do with Ukraine or other issues during circling Eastern European policy. However, on this issue of Russian election meddling, President Trump himself can't really talk about it with Vladimir Putin, it seems.
All right, Julia Manchester for us. Thank you, Julia. Good seeing you.
Thank you.